Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 10th Council meeting. We appreciate you joining, and we're now called to order. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Councilmember Lundy and ask that she open us with prayer.
All right. Thank you, Mayor James. Let us pray. Today, God, we offer prayer for all who exercise leadership around us and for our residents in our town. Together, let us pray for local municipalities, federal and state leaders who make decisions about everything from the school system to the water systems in our communities. God, grant us your amazing grace and new mercies to our local, municipal, federal, and state leaders so that we might make wise decisions. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Councilmember Lundy, for that opening prayer. At this time, we do have the agenda up for our council members to see, and I would ask for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Lundy. Is there a second? Seconded by, was that Councilmember Rout? I'm sorry, I couldn't see you.
It was.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. At this time, we have the next item as the approval of the April 12th council meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
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 Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. At this time, I know our legal counsel, Ms. Ferguson, is with us, but she does have to depart in a few minutes. But I just wanted to acknowledge her before she, leaves for her next meeting. Ms. Ferguson, thank you for joining us this evening. And again, we know you have to leave in a bit, so we probably won't see you after the next 20 minutes or so. But with that, it is on the agenda to move into the constant yield hearing. And so I will need to make a call for a motion to recess the televised council meeting and to go into the constant yield hearing. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. At this time, we're now in the constant yield hearing. Mr. Tonelli, I will turn it over to you.
We have the town of Bladensburg, and so please weigh in at any time as well. The constant yield hearing, we had to advertise this in a local newspaper, and we also put it out on our e-blast. And this hearing is directly related to the property tax rate for the town of Bladensburg. And we talked about the constant yield. The constant yield is lower than our current tax rate. Our current tax rate has remained the same for, I think consensus was at least the last 15 years or 18 years at 0.74 per 100, 74 cents per $100 of assessment. But as assessments rise and the amount of assessments rise, the constant yield wants the tax rate to go down to offset those rise in assessments. So during a good economy, when the assessments are rising, the constant yield wants you to decrease your tax rate so you get the same revenue as a previous year. But to read this, I want to go ahead and just read this real quick, Mayor, just to make it official. The mayor and council of the town of Bladensburg proposes to increase real property taxes for tax year beginning July 1, 2021. The estimated real property assessable base will increase by 3.5% from rounded figures 514 million to 532 million. If the town of Bladensburg maintains a current rate of 74 cents per $100 of assessment, real property tax revenues will increase by 3.5%, resulting in $132,520 of new real property tax revenues. In order to fully offset the effect of the increasing assessments, the real property tax rate should be reduced to 71.5 cents per $100 of assessment, which is the constant yield rate. The town of Bladensburg is considering not reducing its real property tax rate enough to fully offset increasing assessments. The town proposes to adopt a real property tax rate of 74 cents per $100 of assessment. The tax rate is 3.5% higher than a constant yield rate and will generate $132,520 of additional property tax revenues. A public hearing on the proposed real property tax increase will be held at 7 p.m. on May 10th, 2021, and we have all of the meeting Zoom information here. None of this is our language. This is mandated by the state. This is a State Department of Assessment and Taxation language, and there's no changing it. And this comes from them, and we have to advertise it as this. And Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you if there's any questions or comments about the property tax.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Tonelli, for reading the notice. And so at this time, because this is a public hearing, we do have to turn this over to the reading of any public comments that have been submitted regarding the constant yield. So Ms. Griffin-Horn or Mr. Tonelli, are there any comments to be read as part of the hearing?
Thank you, Mayor James. I did not receive any comments or concerns for the property tax, the constant yield increase, tax increase.
And Ms. Ferguson, does this satisfy everything?
Yes, it appears to. You're having your public hearing. You've made your, you have the proof of your advertisement.
And so, Mrs. Ferguson, just to confirm, since it is the public's hearing where we would get their feedback, if there are no comments, we need to go ahead and just close it and let the public know they can still email or write in comments and send them to the town hall office or email them in to, is it admin? I can't see the bottom of it, of the statement here. There we go. Would it be, oh,
Yeah.
Yes, there it is, admin@bladensburgmd.gov. You still do have time to weigh in. So I want to make sure the residents are aware tonight is just the opportunity for the hearing where your comments are read aloud, similar to the public comments in the council meeting.
Are you Mayor, are you accepting a spoken comment this evening?
The advertisement was for written comments, I believe. Just looking. Oh, wait, no, it looks like, Mr. Tonelli, you have it in here. There are oral comments
Yes.
available.
That public testimony
So
is heard.
at this time, Mr. Gray, I apologize for us not checking with you first, but if a resident, are the residents allowed to raise their hand virtually and give their comments? We can't hear you, Mr. Gray. Maybe it's my headset. Can anyone hear Mr. Gray?
Might be working on it.
Okay. Let's just give him a moment.
Mayor James, may I speak?
Sure, Councilmember Rout.
Yes, just for the purposes of organization here in the virtual space, if any resident would like, I want to suggest, if any resident would like to say something, they could just simply raise their hand like this, and they can be acknowledged by you, and they can give the opportunity to share and give public testimony if they would like.
I think we may have to go that rate because I'm not sure that I'm a host in this meeting. So I may not, it's just possible I may not be able to see the virtual hands raised. And so thank you, Councilmember Rout. Let me
Your
just
co-host, Mayor.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Gray. Okay, so virtually, I do not see any hands raised, but do want to open it up to our residents. If you would like to speak, if you could just wave. So at least for those on video, we can acknowledge you. I do recognize there are some who are on the phone So you'll just need to unmute yourselves. But does anyone wish to speak at this time? And you do have 3 minutes. Okay, I'm scrolling. Okay, Mr. Whites. Mr. Whites, could you please unmute your microphone so we can hear you?
Yeah, I don't have a comment on the rate itself. I'm just wondering, I didn't notice if there was a email sent out notifying residents about commenting on it. I didn't read through the complete town news email, the last email, but I'm just asking, if they could send out an email, notifying the community they have the opportunity to comment on it.
Great, thank you, Mr. Whites. Mr. Tonelli, could you please address that?
I think it did go out. I'm not sure. I can look at the previous e-blast, but I'll check for you, Mr. Whites, and we'll put this out again as well, because again, residents can comment after this as well. So I believe it, I want to say I'm almost sure this was already put out on the e-blast, on Power e-blast. And it was advertised in the Billy Blade newspaper. And it's also, but we'll put that out again here as well.
Yeah, if you could just include that notice you have written there too, that would be nice.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Whites, for that recommendation.
Good hearing from you.
And good seeing you too. All right, I'm just scrolling. I see a few more folks on the line, but I don't seem to see any indications that anyone wishes to speak at this time. But again, Mr. Tonelli will follow up with the team, make sure the notice was put out, and then also put it out again in the upcoming e-blast. Please make sure that you email us at the address that's included in the notice, because we do want to hear feedback from the community as we move forward on this matter. And so with that, there are no other public comments. And so may I have a motion to close tonight's constant yield public hearing?
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Blunt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll turn things over to Mrs. Griffin Horn to read the public comments.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, staff, residents, all concerned citizens. I have 3 public comments this evening. First, coming from Susan McCutcheon. Mayor, council members, and town staff, good evening. First, I want to thank Mayor James and the town of Bladensburg for supporting the CS Magnet No Bill grassroots opposition movement and working across municipalities to understand the issues involved. I look forward to the town meeting on Thursday, May 13th, as a follow-up to the information provided in the SC Magnet special e-announcement posted last week. I urge everyone, including town council members and staff, to watch and listen to the video presentation links in that announcement, which include a presentation entirely in Spanish. Second, I ask that the town of Bladensburg issue an official statement supporting the no build option and submit it as a draft environmental impact statement, DEIS, comment by the May 24th deadline. Copying elected officials, including our Prince George's County council members, Maryland delegates and senators, and U.S. representatives and senators. Third, I strongly urge the town of Bladensburg to include in its budget line item funding to help support the work of the legal firm Jill Grant and Associates, enjoined by the city of Greenbelt to review countywide issues related to the SC Magnet DEIS. We do not want to be a penny wise and a pound foolish. What affects Greenbelt as far as the SM Magnet will affect all our municipalities. The firm will give a briefing at the Greenbelt Council meeting this evening. I am sure Greenbelt Council members will be pleased to provide a briefing for the Bladensburg Town Council to discuss their request for a memorandum of understanding between Bladensburg and Greenbelt. Finally, I am greatly concerned about the unfilled town staff positions. The police chief should not have to serve as the interim town administrator for a protracted length of time. The treasurer should not have had to serve in that role for an extended period. Staff are working double and triple time and are spread too thin. Why is it such a difficult process? Is the ongoing council in fighting holding up progress? Overstressed staff will leave under these strained conditions. Those who remain will come to hate their jobs and come under undue public criticism through no fault of their own. I have been in that situation, and I and other staff were miserable and felt we could not do our jobs effectively. There is much talk of community, but I see few signs of efforts to work together for the betterment of the community. The next public comment is from Steve Weiss. Mayor, council members, and town staff. Vines and weeds have grown all over the fence along the Bladensburg Fire Department parking lot. The vines are covering the right rear wall of the post office and are going into the air conditioner on the post office roof. These overgrown vines and weeds will damage the post office air conditioner on the roof. The fire department owns the post office parking lot area, and our town helps support the fire department. So I am asking our town staff and town council to ask the fire department to cut down all the vines and weeds on the fire department fence and on the post office wall and air conditioner. Thank you. Thirdly, I have a public comment from Patrick DeWygert. He says, good afternoon. I want to raise a concern regarding Mexican Lindo's obscene noise pollution that occurs 1 to 3 times a week around 10 p.m. and 10:45 p.m. and lasts until sometime between 1 and 3. The noise and bass has been so loud that I cannot fall asleep and or get woken up from it. I contact the non-emergency line to log my complaints, but this problem is ongoing. It was so loud that I could not even hear with earphones in and white noise turned up. Last Thursday night, I received 4 hours of sleep, and Friday, I only achieved an hour and 20 minutes from this disruption. I would like to speak with you about how town council officials can rectify this. I live far enough from Mexican Lindo. There is no valid way I should be disturbed, or the ordinance should be revisited. I have spoken with neighbors who have communicated a similar struggle, but don't think they have voiced complaints. This matter is impacting my health, my ability to perform my personal and professional responsibilities, and I refuse to live in this type of manner that town officials would like it to be known for, or for residents to endure and who live in the vicinity of the high school. That concludes the reading of the public comments.
Thank you so much, Ms. Griffin. We definitely appreciate our residents writing in and sharing their concerns, and we'll definitely circle back to follow up on each of those issues. The next item on the agenda is under financial business, and this is ordinance 04-2021. Councilmember Lundy, I don't see you on my screen, but before the ordinance is read, I did want you to know we did forward your question to Mrs. Ferguson, and she did review and revise the language to make it modernized and more up to date than the previous version. And that is what is provided here. So with that, I will turn it over to Ms. Diane Griffin Horn.
Thank you once again, Mayor, Council, staff, residents. The first reading of the Town of Bladensburg Ordinance 04-2021. An ordinance to levy the real property and personal property tax rate and appropriate and adopt the operating budget of the Mayor and Council, Town Council of Bladensburg for the 2022 fiscal year of July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. Be it enacted and ordained by the Mayor and the Town Council of Bladensburg that pursuant to the authority contained in Article 501 of the Charter of the Town of Bladensburg, the town budget for the fiscal year 2021 is attached hereto, and be it further enacted and ordained by the Mayor and Town Council of Bladensburg that the real property tax levy for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2021 be, and the same is hereby set at 0.74 per 100 of the full value assessment on all taxable real property located within the corporate limits of the town of Bladensburg. And be it further enacted and ordained by the Mayor and the Town Council of Bladensburg that the tax levy be, and the same is hereby set at $2.09 per $100 of full value assessment on all taxable personal property located within the corporate limits of the town of Bladensburg. And be it further enacted and ordained by the Mayor and the Town Council of Bladensburg that the general operating budget for fiscal year 2022 as attached be and is hereby adopted, and be it further enacted and ordained that upon adoption of this ordinance, the same shall be authenticated. I know the word. That the same shall be authenticated by the signature of the Mayor and the Town Clerk to be recorded among the town books kept for the purpose, and be it further ordained that this ordinance shall be effective on this first day of July 2021. The requirement for reading this ordinance at a two separate meeting of the Mayor and the Council was filled on May 10th, 2021 and June 14th, 2021. Introduced by the Mayor and the Town Council of the Town of Bladensburg at a regular meeting on May 10th, 2021. Thereafter, this ordinance was prominently posted in the town hall and available for inspection by the public. Adopted at the regular meeting, and this is to be dated and signed. And that concludes the reading of the ordinance 04-2021.
Thank you so much, Ms. Griffin-Horn, for reading the ordinance. And again, per our town law, we have to do this twice, once today and again on June 14th. But the understanding is the budget is not finalized. This is still a work in progress. And so we don't vote on the budget until the June 14th meeting. Again, as you heard from the work session, we have a few more sessions to work with staff to get resident input before things are finalized and this ordinance is voted upon and takes effect. With that, we will turn our attention to the department reports, and we'll begin with public safety.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, colleagues, and residents. Just want to say first, want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that celebrated and those that have stepped up in those roles to fill those valuable duties. My report will be kind of short today. I do have the hard copy for distribution. Everyone should have it, but I just want to start off by I received some very disturbing news this evening from Port Towns Elementary School from Principal Murray. Those of you that know Mr. Flanagan, he suddenly passed away today. Yes, so that was a very a gut-wrenching notification to receive. At 3 o'clock, they had a staff meeting, and they had the crisis team there at the school on the virtual call. For my short time being here at Bladensburg, Mr. Flanagan has been just a strong pillar in the community, a strong supporter of the police, and he definitely, when you saw Ms. Merg, you saw Mr. Flanagan always by her side. So this is a huge, tremendous loss to the town of Bladensburg, to the students, to the faculty. His family are in my prayers. We have reached out to Ms. Mark, and I told her that she can count on the police department for any resources that she may need. So I just wanted to bring that to the community attention, as well as to the council attention. We talked about some good news for our website. I know that it's been very challenging for our residents in our community to receive information from the town due to the challenges that we face trying to upgrade our website. As of today, the website is up and it is running. You can log in and you can see the great work that has been put forth. I want to give a special shout out to our marketing specialist, Ms. Diamond McDowell, who has taken the lead on this project, and she did a phenomenal job. Community notice, there will be a milling and overlay project that would take place on 54th Street and in the 5400 block of Upshur Street. This will take place on, excuse me one second.
Chief, I believe it's the 13th and the 14th.
Thank you, Sean. Yes, that's correct. The 13th and the 14th, it will take place. So we do apologize in advance for any inconvenience this may cause, but we are working hard to keep the streets and the community, especially our roads, where we walk and we drive daily, safe for everyone. I want to give a shout out to our police officers, our frontline first responders. This week, May 9th through May 15th, is National Police Week. This is a week where we acknowledge all of the officers and first responders who paid the ultimate sacrifice, laying down their lives in the line of duty to protect others. This is, again, it's national, it's across the country, it's across the world at this time. So we just want to take a moment to, if you see our officers out and about, just take a minute to thank them for the work that they do during the pandemic and these challenging times, definitely of unrest, because we want to make sure that we keep a strong bond and relationship with our community. And so far we have done that. We did have a couple of incidents, but we will be transparent as chief. I plan to always be transparent. I intend to hold staff accountable when need to be, but at the same time, I want to be the first to recognize and congratulate officers for the hard work, not just our officers, our code enforcement, our public works, all of our staff, for the hard work that they do every day for this community, to keep this organization and this community moving forward. This year's fireworks display, we will not be having any fireworks this year. I sent the email to Mr. Rob Walker, the facility director for the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and he advised due to the pandemic, there will not be any events going on over at the Waterfront Park. I know that Mayor James and others, council members, are working to find an alternative entertainment for our residents and community this year, because I think that we've been locked in so long that we all want to get out and experience some type of normalcy this year. So we will be working to bring something forward. The CERT, we will be sending out a call to action notice to start back up our CERT team. Our CERT team is made up of our civilians from the community that are willing to come out and assist us in special events. Like we just had the sudden flood back in September. These are activities and events where our residents come out, because again, we always want to make sure that we maintain that relationship and take care of one another in our community of Bladensburg. We had a couple other special events in the month of April. On April 10th, we held our Public Safety Day. That was done in collaboration with our Bladensburg Volunteer Fire Department. I want to thank our mayor and council. I want to thank our partners at Port Towns, Principal Merrick, and her staff for coming out to support us. I want to thank all the residents and staff that came out to support the event and support our first responders. On April 17th, we held the Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, where we acknowledge all of our dispatchers for the hard work they do. They are usually the first voice you hear when you're in a crisis. You call 911. You most of the time you speak with our dispatchers. They are our lifeline for first responders. We rely on them to give us good, detailed information to help us stay safe and keep the community safe when we respond to calls for service. On April the 21st was our National Administrative Professionals Day, and we took the liberty and privilege of recognizing our front office staff, Ms. Diane, as well as the Chief Executive Assistant, Ms. Adams, and we presented them with some nice flowers, just as a small token of our appreciation for the hard work and dedication that they give every day.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome, Ms. Diane. We want to thank the Prince George's County Facility Services along with Bladensburg Elementary School. But first, I want to bring it and give credit where credit is due. Councilmember Rout brought a problem to our attention of a large amount of trash and debris over at Bladensburg Elementary School. As a result, I spoke with our code enforcement who worked diligently with our county partners, and the area is now clean and free of trash and debris. The place has been painted, and we would like to share those photographs at a later time. But I would just want to say kudos to everyone, Bladensburg Elementary School staff, everyone that played a part in cleaning up and making that environment safe for our children who have to walk up through that path every day, as well as our parents who walk their kids to school and come back. Lastly, I just want to end with May 3rd through May 7th was Teacher Appreciation Week, and we took the time to recognize our local educators in our community. Again, we can't do what we do without the support of all of our residents, all of our staff, our council, and I just want to say that how appreciative I am of everyone's efforts to keep this place, Bladensburg, a safe, livable, and prosperous community. Thank you.
Thank you for those updates, Chief Collington, and we definitely appreciate the hard work of the men and women of the PD who come here doing the right thing every single day and going above and beyond. But I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge you've had a tough several weeks of having to deal with some very tough personnel matters. And I want to applaud you publicly for taking a hard stance and making sure that our ordinances, our general orders are followed to the T. And whenever, there's questions and different processes have to be followed, things are brought to the light, you don't sit back and just look the other way. It's very public, and I know we can't go into it, but we have 2 officers who are currently facing charges. That is a very difficult thing to address. But again, you didn't back down. When the time was right, you contacted the council. We had closed session with legal counsel, had certain conversations, and you followed up as advised by legal counsel and did everything that needed to be done. And, you know, we pray for justice to be done in those matters. But again, for those who are doing the right thing, we are very grateful that you take the time to acknowledge them, because sometimes we know it can be a thankless job, and you don't just favor the brass, you favor all the troops. And so I appreciate you looking out for everybody, as evidenced by acknowledging our administrators last week with the Appreciation Day. And I just, the news about Mr. Flanagan definitely took me by surprise, and we'll be praying for his family. At this time, over to code enforcement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. And again, I express the same concerns about Mr. Flanagan that the mayor just did. He was a very great person. I'm going to be very brief and just give a couple reminders. It's that time of year for residents to get out and cut their grass. We have several residents that have been out and have not cut their grass yet this year. The last thing the town wants to do is have to come on your property and cut your grass for you. And if you're starting to come into a trying time where you can't get your grass cut, just reach out to the town and we can see if we can put you in contact with some people to assist you with getting that taken care of. I also want to follow up on something that was brought up by Councilwoman Lundy last month about the bumpy road on Evanston Road where the water main break was. I've reached out to WSSC several times to get them to come out to put a permanent patch down. I have had no luck at that time. So if any resident or any council member has a contact information that they could share with me with WSSC, please forward it to me. I am working diligently to get this taken care of. I'm just not having any results because unfortunately, we have to go through the emergency communications center with them. But like with other agencies like PEPCO, we have a community representative. Washington Gas, I have contacts with them. It's just WSSC is one of the harder ones to get a hold of. So please, any help that y'all could forward to me, I would greatly appreciate that. At that time, my report is attached to the police department's reports. I'm gonna give it back to the mayor and council. If y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, Officer Reinhardt. We appreciate your work as well. I know one of the events that we had in the month of April was initiated by the Green Team, and Councilmember Lundy helped lead that effort. And concerns were definitely expressed about high grass at one of our shopping centers, and it's only gotten worse since the time of the last two cleanups in April. So the question came up, at what point does the town decide you're in violation and it's time for us to do an abatement and then bill them, you know, for it? Is it 60 days, 45?
That's better. Once we give the initial grass notice, it gives them 5 days to correct that violation notice. After the 5 days is up, we actually post their property, which gives them an additional 7 days. If it's not corrected on that 8th day, we can have our public works department go in and abate the property. And once it's done like that, we actually go through the finance department and we bill them for like the public works overtime. We public work the equipment, the gas to fuel, any trash removed. And then we attach it to their county property tax bill. That's to ensure that we get our money because they have to pay their county taxes, and part of the county taxes, they have to come to us. So we're actually I know the property you're talking about. We're actually getting ready to go through tomorrow. We have like 7 or 8 properties that we have to post in town, and that actually is going to fall on one of our properties to be posted also. So I know exactly what you're talking about. So we're in the process of taking care of it.
Yep, I appreciate it. And just again, I'm thankful for your hard work.
I see Councilwoman Rout may have a question.
So that's the problem with sliding through. I lose visibility. Councilmember Rout.
Thank you, Mayor James. Thank you, Officer Reinhardt. I have a subsequent question as it relates to the abatement process, but just on the trash side. Okay. So the same situation with there is a commercial area that seems to just have collected trash and their private property is not attended to adequately in the community's eyes, what then is that process?
With the trashes, we actually have to send certified mail on that time, so that there's actually a little bit longer process on in that aspect. And with how our mail services work recently, sometimes we send a certified mail, we'll get the return receipt back. Once we have the return receipt with acknowledging the problem, we usually kind of give them around 21 days to get it corrected for the actual trash for commercial properties. Excuse me. If it's not corrected within the 21 days and we actually have our certified mail back, that's when the town can go on the posted property. And again, it can be abated by the town, or the town can actually hire a contractor to take care of the property. If you have a specific property, please email me, and I'll definitely look into the matter and make sure we get it addressed for you. And again, I rely on the residents, and I rely on the other council and staff, because there are some stuff that we do miss, because we may see it or we may not have got a chance to got to it. I'm sure we have had a chance to have gotten to it. So please share that information with me. Yes, ma'am.
And one follow-up to that, before I go back to council member Route. So this is stemming from the most recent cleanup.
Mhm.
And we observed there's 2 horrific areas in town where there isn't tremendous availability to passersby. So it's very easy to dump. It's almost like someone disassembled their shed and just dumped the wood.
Right.
And I won't say the area, but because where I'm going is, what would it take for us to start the process of going to, say, our county council member and asking for cameras to catch people dumping in certain areas of the town that are consistently problematic?
I think that would be a great idea, but I'm going to refer back to the chief about the cameras and stuff like that. I don't have an issue with that. And I know some things that we come across a lot of times is the one specific property that we're speaking about with the high grass. A lot of that property behind them is actually Prince George's County property. So you have to reach out to Prince George's County, and then they have to find time, because it's kind of hard for the town to go after the county. So we have to work with them to say, hey, can you come out and clean out your property? But it has happened, and we do work with them quite frequently to get it done. And again, like I said, if it's a spot that it's not something we necessarily see on a regular basis, it does get overlooked.
And to that point, again, the area, the main one is county property.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about during the cleanup, a shopping cart was pulled out of there, which is completely unacceptable.
I know, because we're talking about the same property.
Yep.
So I know a few years ago when the county came out and cleaned it out, they pulled out an ATM that was back there. So they found quite numerous things back there. And again, I don't know how nobody doesn't see them actually doing this. And this is the part I don't understand. And for even me being the property owner at that property, I would want to say, hey, what's going on with my property? Why does it look like this behind me? And that's disheartening that the property owner either A, isn't aware, or B, doesn't care enough. And that bothers me.
Right. Thank you for that response. Councilmember Rout, I know you had a hand up as
Yes,
well.
thank you, Mayor James. So another issue that I had brought to your attention, Officer Reinhardt, is there are single-family homes that have multiple families living in them that may or may not have licenses to be multiple rental units. And I have had lots of, like, more than 5 residents in Ward 1 to reach out to me, a little frustrated, like, what are we doing about it? And I explained the process as it relates that you shared with me, and how you and Chief Collington will be investigating the properties in question. But I guess my question to you is, what more can we do, right? I mean, I understand we don't want to displace any families, but multiple families living in a unit that should be a single family home could be a health concern.
And I agree with you. And it's hard to investigate that. And I'm going to go over to Chris Mendoza, put his other hat on when he was with Prince George's County. Because it's hard
good luck. Good luck.
Sean,
good luck with that one. We tried it in court and the judge threw it out.
Yeah.
When I was in the county.
And that's the thing is it's hard for somebody to say who's family and not's family. So that's where we kind of keep our hands tied. And a lot of cases, I know, speaking with Councilmember Mendoza and other county officials, they get thrown out of court because you can't describe who's family, because just because, you know, we live together in a household, you can be family to me somehow. And I know we actually had Prince George's County come up, and I believe Mayor James was at that meeting a while ago, where they actually came out and said it's hard to identify properties. Even the county's having the same issue. But the property we did talk, we discussed with Chief Collins, I did look in that, and they're actually, that's blood relative family members that live there. So I did follow up on the one we discussed there. Yeah, but we could speak farther on that at a different time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Officer Reinhardt and Chief Collington, I will follow up with you both separately, because one of the residents did just respond with some information about the county czar who might be able to help us get some cameras up in the community to catch people who are dumping. So I'll connect you all with that individual who can hopefully help us rectify a lot of this. But again, thank you, Officer Reinhardt, for the updates. Go ahead, Chief.
I was just saying, thank you.
Absolutely. At this time, we'll flip over to Mr. Tonelli for the treasurer's report.
Those are always two tough acts to follow. So, and now we talk about numbers. But again, you know, as I say, the town is a service industry. That's what I've always said, and they're the ones providing the service between public safety and public works. So it's good to hear those reports and the community engagement, everything else. So they are on the front lines. I'm going to try to be brief as I can.
So Mr. Tonelli, it's funny you mentioned that. If you are not going to be brief, would you mind if I take a point of personal privilege, because we may lose this individual, but I just want to acknowledge,
Sure.
I noticed Delegate Diana Fennell is on the call, and just wanted to acknowledge her, thank her for joining, and see if she had anything to say. Just because I know sometimes they try to hit multiple towns who have meetings on the same night. So Delegate, I want to give you an opportunity to greet everyone.
Actually, I'm sorry, but this is not Delegate Fennell. This is her community liaison. And as you said, you know, we've had multiple meetings tonight, and I got lucky and I got you guys. So my name is Gloria Albright, and hopefully I will be meeting with some of you soon, and you'll get to meet me.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gloria, for attending. And I'm glad you still put Delegate Diana Fennell in there, so we would at least affiliate you with her office. But we appreciate your presence tonight. So, okay, Mr. Tonelli, we're coming back over to you for a 2-hour presentation on finances that we cannot wait to hear every word of it.
2 hours is not enough. Okay, I was going to put a couple of the slides up here. I have the full financial report. We'll put all these reports out in e-blast. Excuse me. It sounds like we have our website up and going. So we will post these on the website and work with the chief and Diamond on that. So, okay, here we go. This is a summary now on the table here. And the light shaded blue column, can everybody see this okay? Okay. I'm looking over here, so I'm not going to see anybody over here.
No problem, we're good.
Okay. The light shaded blue column is through April, and we're 83% done of the fiscal year. 83% of the way through the fiscal year, 10 months into it. This is our FY21 budget, and here's our variance. And I slid a new column over here, how we were performing compared to last fiscal year at this point. Just talk about real quick where we are with revenues. We thought we're going to take a hit with the property taxes and the personal property taxes. Everybody was expecting a downturn in the economy. Same with income and other tax. And what we found out is it did not have the anticipated effect with the pandemic. So the revenues came in ahead of budget when we were trying to be conservative and walk them back. Some of the things that the major variances, service charges, this includes $100,000 that we projected to receive from our traffic enforcement program through the cameras, and that has not been brought online yet. So there's no revenues there or offsetting expenses. We budgeted that to be a wash because it's a traffic safety measure. So the revenues were going to cover the cost. So total revenues, we are right on budget at 84% received, and that's good. That's where we want to be. And we're actually doing 4% higher than last fiscal year as well. And a big part of that is because of the increased assessments and tax collections for the property taxes. Operating expenses, we are well below budget. We are at a total level of 68% expended through 84% of the fiscal year. So you can see our we're doing we were doing a little bit better last year. That's because we had more grant expenses. I'm sorry, let me back up, capital outlay. And the next table is the expenditures by department. And here's our major departments, or all of our departments here in the town. And you can see where the savings are. The mayor and council budget, we haven't used the some of the line items with professional development, contracted services. Town administrator position has been vacant all year. Town clerk position, similar, that's been vacant. So that's why you see your lower budget numbers here for the administrative departments. Finance has been fully staffed. We're fully operational. It's just Jennifer and I. Public safety, our largest department, is operating under budget. We've had some staff vacancies, some executive level positions that have not pursued filling, and they are operating below budget there. You see it 77% of the way through the fiscal year. Public Works, we included in here are the highway user projects, and they, as Chief said, that's happening, or Sean said, that's happening on the 13th and 14th. Some of those construction projects, some of the roads construction projects. And grants has not been utilized yet, and that will be, not all of it, but we have a close to $200,000 CDBG project going on with the resurfacing of 58th Avenue. And we'll see all those expenses in May and June, and you'll see those in there. So we're up because the revenues are on budget, expenses are below budget by quite a bit. We're going into the last couple of months of the fiscal year with a budget, with a surplus. You can see where we are right now versus where we are at this point last fiscal year. So it's a big difference. I mean, it's positive, of course. But as I always say, you know, when you're under in expenses and you have a big number here, what are you actually losing? You know, and it's staffing. That is the biggest part, and also your road projects, and that can be tied to that. So you can, same thing over here in graphical form. And again, we have the full financials, and these are very important to go through with the budget process. Also have a full narrative here as well. And as always, I'd like to thank Jennifer, who works here in the finance office, who's the accountant assistant. She's responsible. She's like the gateway for everything getting into the system with all our checks and balances and verifications. And it's a lot of transactions. This is a summary format, but there's a lot of transactions that go through here. And I've contacted the auditor, and we've already, we need to start making plans to start working on the FY21 audit. So we want to get a jump on that really soon. And that's all I have. Anybody has any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Tonelli. My only comment is that was way too short.
I know.
But I'll turn it over to my colleagues. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any questions. Come back across. Okay, look, hearing none. Thank you so much for those updates. At this time, I'll turn it, well, we'll keep moving down the agenda to mayor and council reports. I do want to just let everyone know, Councilmember Blunt had an emergency, so she had to step away. She may come back, and if so, we'll pivot to her report. But I'll move over to Councilmember Lundy for her April report.
Thank you, Mayor James. And I just wanted to say that I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Flanagan during our census outreach when I frequent the school and work with the Principal Merrick on that. So I definitely want to extend my condolences as well to his family, to the school, and everyone who loved him, especially the long timers who have lived here in Bladensburg. But just from meeting him briefly, I can understand why there's such heartfelt condolences right now. So I want to give my heartfelt condolences to his family. So a brief report. I just want to say thank you so much for this vision that Councilmember Rout had with the Spring Prayer Week. It was wonderful, and I was glad that she invited me to come along to collaborate with her on that. As we are both women of faith, and we understand the importance of having your time of spiritual renewal and refreshing, especially during this time of the pandemic. And so it was a great event. We had great participation from the young and the young at heart, from Elizabeth Seaton. We had our faith members and partners from our faith community to participate as well. So it was a great, great success. Also want to give a shout out and a thank you to our Senator Augustine and his office who assisted me. I had a resident who I met in the post office. She was really experiencing some, having some hard times based on losing her job. And she was really fearful of being evicted and all of that. And so I reached out to her to ask her to give me a call. And I'm so happy that I was able to connect with Senator Augustine in his office, and they have been and are assisting her. And when I speak with her via email, she's doing well right now. So that's a blessing. We had the Going Green event in April. Mayor James and myself collaborated on that, and that was an excellent event as well. We had a great time and working together on that, I think. So we laughed. And of course, I was moving fast, and my opposite was like, okay, let's slow down. Okay, so we meshed well on that. So that was good. And so the town beautification, and we also, our public works, thank you so much to Pernell and his team for doing the sprucing up, and not finished yet, but they have started. It looks really good around town, the town Harrington Park. So that's wonderful. I want to give a shout out for that. Basically still working with my colleagues on the vaccination clinics. And I attended a wonderful volunteer celebration event that Councilmember Blunt held for her volunteer residents, senior residents at the Emerson House. And it was so wonderful to spend a little time there, to get back in there and see them. So that is my report. Thank you so much, Mayor James.
Great, thank you so much, Councilmember Lundy. We'll turn it over to Councilmember Mendoza.
Good evening. I actually want to thank the mayor and council for when we did those cleanups. It was really great. We also did the vaccine at the community center, and everybody showed up to help. That's really wonderful that we're doing a lot of great things. For Sean, I think he was talking about my yard, not cut the grass. I was out of country, but I did came back and cut it. So it's done, Sean, okay? But yeah, no, summer's coming. We just gotta be out there, and especially the cleaning part just really touched me. because I walk that road all the time, and now walking it looks so much cleaner that I want to thank everybody for helping. You know, even Ms. Kenko was out there, you know, and everybody else really, really wonderful. So, you know, thanks guys for everything.
Great. Thank you as well, Councilmember Mendoza. At this time, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Rout.
Thank you, Mayor James. My report will be submitted to be posted on the town website since we have one. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. My thoughts and prayers, I want to start off by going to my Omega brother, Mr. Flanagan. And I have, in my official capacity, I have had the opportunity to meet him through all of the efforts in the community with the census, and also through our different COVID response as providing food to residents who may be food insecure. He was just a pleasant man. And so we share gold. And so I will always say, oh, my golden man. And so he will definitely be missed. And so my thoughts and prayers are with the town of Bladensburg community, because he has touched many, 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 many lives, and youth and young adults, parents. He has been a steady force in our community, in addition to his own family and fraternity brothers. And I'm going to start with my report. Situations, people, attitudes, and the list goes on, can be improved through prayer. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to partner with my colleague, Councilwoman Lundy, as the lay council lead, to really just bring a little bit of prayer back into, and meditation. We did have individuals that did not practice a particular faith who joined us just to meditate. And we gave space for that. And really, we have had a tumultuous year with losses, with sudden, job losses, individuals and families. And so with spring, renewed health, and an opportunity to really grow together, we provided an immense opportunity for performers, young people, older, the young at heart, as Councilwoman Lundy says, soloists. I mean, it was amazing. And so to me, it was more than just a spring prayer week. We had an opportunity for meditation, camaraderie. We had a little bit, a charge from some of the speakers to charge us to do better as community members. And what I do know is that prayer makes things change. We consider the impossible possible. And I just want to press upon our town of Bladensburg residents to continue. Let's bond together to fight COVID. COVID is still here. It's active. Working COVID every day in the district. And we're almost there, you guys. We're almost there. Please continue to wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart, stay socially distant, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds or more, and consider taking the vaccine. The vaccine is one of the many things that's really going to help us get back to normalcy. And I'm so happy that the CDC is considering or has released the opportunity for young people ages 12 to 15 to be vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine. We have a local pharmacy here who has supported this town council with our vaccination efforts. I want to highlight Paddock Healthcare Pharmacy because this man has stepped up to the plate and has partnered with us, with members of this town council, in addition to the county council, the county health department, and through the community relations and community responses. They have been adequately working with this town council. And based on my calculations, our vaccination efforts have touched over 1,100 individuals in our town. And I think that's phenomenal. That's teamwork. That's community. And that's what I'm talking about when we talk about community. So your town council is working very hard on your behalf. Sometimes we may agree to disagree, and sometimes it looks a little bad on the outside, but we're getting things done. And I want to applaud all of my colleagues because this is not an easy job. It's not an easy job at all. My kids all the time say, is this a Monday? Are you leaving us? And so I applaud all the mothers that serve on this council with me. And I want to say happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you, because the sacrifices that we make as mothers are amazing. And so as a mother that will be having another, I just want to, just share that we are all women and we are so strong, and we can bond together to continue to make the town of Bladensburg the best municipality in Prince George's County to live, love, and grow. I have been very, very, very active on my residents' behalf. I have participated in many different town council vaccination efforts. I participated in the Public Safety Day in support of our public safety initiatives led by our Chief Tyrone Collinson. I was able to support our Public Safety Telecommunications Week, both in person by providing snacks for them to be able to munch on as they are supporting our town of Bladensburg residents that need support when they call our 911. I have participated in our community pop-up COVID-19 vaccination events throughout the town of Bladensburg. Through my efforts, like I stated, we have brought over 1,100 vaccinations to the town of Bladensburg. I have also participated in the Growing Green with Pride event, where we actively went out into the town of Bladensburg and collected trash and recyclables, and were able to, really take a stance in beautifying our community. I read a book for the Earth Day, and that book, we learned about how a village in Africa noticed that plastic bags were really impacting their community negatively. And my son told me about that book. He said, that's in our PG curriculum. And so I thought that was so cool, that was one of the books that Councilmember Lundy and I had selected. And my son had saw that was a book that they were learning about. And so it was very timely. So I'm a little popular in this house, which is kind of cool, right? So I read the book so that our young people can understand how we can make something negative and impact our community for the positive. I don't want to spill the beans, but they were able to use the plastic bags to create little purses and sell the purses in their community, which was a phenomenal way to think about the reuse and to promote recycling. Lastly, I have attended all of our work sessions that we have had, and really worked in collaboration with our town council members to create an active plan to bring on and fill these positions. We do understand that it is an emotional strain, and as well as a strain on our town staff, but they are doing a phenomenal job. Our Chief Collinson has stepped up to the plate, and he has rocked it. And Chief, from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate your leadership and your support, just being very responsive to our requests and our questions. And so we really appreciate you. Help is coming. We have a plan. And so just to address people's concerns, yes, it's taken a long time, but we are trying to definitely find the right fit for our town as it relates to all of our vacancies. So continue to think positive thoughts about your town council, because we definitely are working to fight the mag laugh. That's they think they coming, but they're not, because our advocacy is going to be stronger and better. And so collectively, we are going to positively impact the town of Bladensburg. I thank you, and I yield back.
Mayor James, can I have a follow-up?
Yes, Councilmember Lundy.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Rout, for reminding me about the Bladensburg virtual event. I just want to say that thank you so much to Mr. Rick, who made me look so good. Okay, thank you so much. And I also want to say that people are watching the rebroadcast. And so I was educated on the book that you read. I enjoyed the Eco Farms, Kayla. I think it's Kayla, Mayor James. Is Kayla? Who did the smoothie, and then the other young lady who did the presentation that she did as well. So it was wonderful to be, the Mayor James invited me to be host that and everything. And so that was really good. Got my little feet wet and everything. And I really had a great time doing it. Had a great time doing it. So I want to thank the residents for tuning in and watching the rebroadcast. It was very exciting. And thank you to our staff and also Chief Collington. You know. Thank you so much. All right. God bless. Take care.
Thank you both for those updates and reports. A lot of it is duplicative because we have been collaborating on some of the activities for the month of April. For instance, Councilmember Lundy and I met and just brainstormed on some sustainable ideas to get us out active working together. And I am grateful that we did I believe it was the April 10th cleanup. We did follow it up with Growing Green with Pride, the Earth Day celebration, which was virtual. Thank you for leading that effort because I was having technology issues. I was out of town and couldn't get on with my internet, but I really appreciate you stepping up and carrying that over the finish line. And I also appreciate the creativity with also beautification around the town hall and working with staff to organize that. And I think that while it is not complete, it is going to pay off because we have to lead by example. And so just the efforts that are being facilitated with Public Works and other staff are really going to pay off and make the community look nicer. In that vein, as was stated, for those who may have missed the work session, I did ask one of the presenters to join us for the Port Towns quarterly meeting last week on Monday, I think that was, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago. Time is running together in this whole COVID universe. But Latasha Ward, who's a member of the Prince George's County Reentry Board, did come on to the Port Towns quarterly call and share information about some efforts that she, as well as her partners with the Denny House, implement, which are around beautification and getting young people to actively engage in on a regular basis, picking up trash and doing beautification projects. And so I asked her to present to the Port Towns group so that we can collectively work on some efforts over the summer. We know that children, because of COVID, have not been able to get community service hours in the same way that they could previously. So this is an opportunity to help them in that area. But I firmly believe when you teach a child to clean up, they're less likely to mess up. And so in working with these organizations and getting others, whether it's our Taekwondo Ramblers or Reverend Gail's group or our Police Explorers out this summer in a series of events where we're beautifying, they will help be ambassadors of cleanliness and beautification in our local community. So I'm very much looking forward to formalizing that partnership and working with them as we move forward. The other benefit of that is we did discuss reentry opportunities, and we'll be working with them to organize some reentry events for our residents. Again, not just for Bladensburg, but we want to make it a Port Towns wide effort so that for those who have made mistakes in the past and are looking for opportunities to have a second chance, we as a government are doing their part to help provide them with those opportunities. And so that'll be forthcoming. And in anticipation of the American Recovery Act funding, I sat on a call with the National League of Cities where they talked about utilizing funding to help bridge the educational gap that has occurred over the last year, whether it's through summer learning opportunities or after school opportunities, and jotted down some notes and shared them with our school community. And so they're just kind of going through their internal brainstorming. And I just asked, hey, this is what I learned. What do you guys think about it? They want to talk with their leadership to see if it's something that they can bring back and talk to our council about working toward as we come to evaluate ideas on how to utilize that funding. I will tell you, I've talked to teachers who've been quite frustrated that adults are in the house when students are supposed to be online learning and they're not holding these kids accountable. And so it's very difficult for the teacher to keep their attention, get a lesson across, and expect them to come back and complete homework assignments. And so we have to be thoughtful about making sure we do our part to ensure these kids start regaining some of the gaps that have occurred over the last year, and be creative in how we look to address those concerns. Also, I had to jump off the Port Towns quarterly meeting earlier because I was hosting, along with another nonprofit, a sexual assault town hall, where we had one of the state's attorney representatives present, as well as victims who have survived sexual assault, share their experiences and how they were able to overcome, which was a powerful event as well. And as was stated before, definitely appreciate the efforts of the team with the vaccination events. I led the effort, just coordinating with the county to have them come back April 17th, I believe that was, for the second dose of the Pfizer shot at the Bladensburg Community Center. The same day, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was another one at Autumn Woods going on. So as was stated by Councilmember Rout, we're all collectively trying to do our very best effort to provide opportunities for our residents to be vaccinated. The county has been pleased with the way things have gone with the partnership, and they're looking to come back at the end of June. So I'll be following up with information regarding that. But I'm sure the council members will have other opportunities coming up in advance. But with that in mind, Prince George's County has a huge initiative that they're doing this Friday and Saturday, May 14th and 15th. So you don't need to pre-register. You can just show up at the Sports and Learning Complex, and they're giving out raffles and giveaways and all kinds of things. Joe Claire, a local radio personality, will be there helping to, just draw attention and so forth. But they're looking to get significant numbers of Prince Georgians to come through and be vaccinated. So I'm sure it's on the county executive's Facebook page, but I can also share the flyer with Ms. McDowell if she wants to push that out in this week's communication as well. And then the FEMA site in Greenbelt has indicated that they're taking walk-ups. So for those who, you've been vaccine reluctant and now all of a sudden you want it, and you want it now, you don't want to wait for the town council to organize the next one. Well, just go online, look at the information for the Greenbelt Vaccination Center, because the hours are different by day. But again, you can walk in, get your vaccination over there without having to pre-register. And what I'll also do in my report, because the hour is getting late, is include a wrap up of some of the information from the legislative session. CNADI was our last council meeting, I believe that was April 14th. And so I've just been compiling notes from various articles and lobbyists who are sending out their post-session reports. And so I'll be sure to include that in the written report that gets posted on our website soon. So with that, that completes my report for activities on the month of April. And at this time, just looking at the agenda, I don't see any items under old business, nor do I see any items under new business. And so with that, would ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's council meeting.
Mayor James?
Yes, was that Councilmember Rout?
Yes. I just have an addendum to my report. I was remiss. I think all of our staff that's working with me will be mad if I didn't bring this up. We do have our Mental Health Awareness Day that will be on May 29th, 2021 from 12 to 2 in our town park. And this will be an outdoor event. As it relates to just bringing mental health awareness. I did present on it at the work session, but I did want to make that announcement. There'll be entertainment, there'll be free food, there will be activities, and there will be active resources to support one's wellness. So come on out, wear your mask, stay socially distant. And at that event, we will also have a vaccination effort right there on site that you'll be able to walk up and, if you so desire, to be vaccinated. Thank you so much, Mayor James. Yield back.
Thank you for those additional announcements. And with that, as we close, I don't want to ignore the fact that since we last had our council meeting, we had some monumental news in April. I believe that was April the 21st, where the George Floyd family received justice for the unjust murder of their loved one. And while it is gratifying to know that justice was served in that situation, I think it's still a reminder that we all must continue to do our part to work on behalf of those who are not able to advocate for themselves. I equate that to a sigh of relief between contractions. It was relief knowing justice was served in this case, but I just encourage everyone here to keep fighting for what is right and keep standing up for what is right, without any sort of prejudice in your hearts or, as you move forward day to day. And then finally, before going back to ask for a motion to adjourn, as was stated earlier, um, Principal Marek and Port Towns Elementary School family, just know that you all are in our thoughts and prayers as you go through this time. And if there's anything the town can do to assist you all, just call, text, send a pigeon. We're here to help. Our hearts are heavy because those of us who truly knew Mr. Flanagan and the love and passion and dedication that he served our students with, we are devastated. And so with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn tonight's council meeting.
I so move.
Moved by Councilmember Rout. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilmember Lundy. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by the saying of aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you all so much. And thank you to our residents for
everyone.
joining.
Good
Stay
night,
safe.
everyone.
Good night,
You want a
everyone.
29? Park.